If your team is already using ClickUp for time tracking, there's a new feature that you need to know about: TimeSheet Approvals. This feature is a game changer. This helps teams track billable hours, manage contractors, and streamline processes for reviewing and approving time entries. In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how it works from setup to submission to approval so that you and your team can start using it right away. So I'm going to first show you how to set up timesheet approvals. And then from there, we'll show you what it looks like for a submitter to submit their time and for an approver, how it looks for them to approve or request changes. Let's get into ClickUp. To get started, you'll need to be an owner or admin in ClickUp to be able to set up timesheet approvals. The other thing to note is only admins are able to be set as approvers. So if you have department heads that need to approve, make sure that they're set as admins in ClickUp. In my ClickUp space, I'm going to go into the timesheets in the left-hand navigation. Here up top, there are 3 tabs, and we're going to go into approvals. All right, let's set up timesheet approvals. So I'm going to click this button, and now we're going to set what the deadline should be for when timesheet approvals should be submitted. So let's set it to Friday, 5 p.m. That's usually a standard. That's usually when our team submits their time entries by. And we can send reminders. So let's send reminders 24 hours before the timesheet is due and 8 hours after the timesheet is due in case they did not submit their time entries. Let's go ahead and hit continue. Now we can add all of our submitters. So I'm going to select all. Now that I have my list of timesheet submitters, let me go ahead and set the approvers. The approver is going to be set to me. Go ahead. If you have different department heads, go ahead and set your different department heads. Please remember that they do need to be admins, so make sure that they are set as admins if they are going to be approving timesheets. Perfect. Now our timesheet approval section is all set up. If you ever need to adjust the settings, you can go back into approval settings and make any adjustments that need to be made. All right. Now that this is set up, I'm going to go into my team members ClickUp account and I'm going to have them submit their timesheet for approval. So let's go ahead and jump into what that experience looks like. I've logged into my team members account. So we are now in the perspective of the timesheet submitter. So I'm going to go into timesheet. I can see it's not in the navigation. And if you ever come across this, you want to hit more and you should see timesheet here. And then you can pin this so that it shows up. All right, let's go ahead and create a timesheet for submittal. So I'm going to go ahead and have some tasks in here. All tasks, I have this TikTok task and this newsletter task. So I'm going to add these in here and I'm going to put some time entries in. So I can set 3 hours for Monday, 2 hours for my newsletter, 1 hour for Tuesday. So however many hours I worked, I can go ahead and set those. All right. So in total, I have 13 hours. My total weekly capacity is 40 hours, and I've only worked 13 hours. So there are those metrics that you're able to see when you're submitting the time entries. So I'm going to go ahead and hit submit for approval. I have 13 total hours for this week. If that all looks right, I'm going to hit submit. And now I will see that this time sheet is pending. So for this specific week, this timesheet is pending approval. But if I do need to make any adjustments, I can always withdraw this timesheet to make any adjustments. So if I accidentally made a mistake and I tracked 13 hours when I actually worked 15 hours, what we're going to want to do here as the submitter is we're going to hover over this approvals icon. We're going to click on the 3 dots next to pending and we're going to hit withdraw. There we go. Now that it is in the not submitted status, we can go ahead and make our revisions and send this back. So I can say on Wednesday, I actually worked 2 hours on newsletter. I forgot to enter that. So I'm going to go ahead and add that. Now I'm at a total for 15 hours. That looks correct. Let's go ahead and hit submit again. Perfect. We are back to pending again. This was submitted by me, and it is now pending approval from my manager. All right, let's go ahead and look at what this looks like for the approver. Keep in mind that once a timesheet is submitted, it is locked, and you are not able to make any updates unless you withdraw it or unless it is reopened by some revisions requested by the timesheet approver. All right, now I am back in my account. I am the timesheet approver here, and I can see right next to timesheets, there is this little notification that is just letting me know that there are some timesheets that need my attention. So I'm going to go into timesheets. and we can see that there is a timesheet that needs approval. So I'm going to click on approvals. And in the approval section, there's four different sections. There are timesheets that need my approval. There are timesheets where I've requested changes and the changes are pending. There are approved, and then there is all. All right, so I have one timesheet. I'm going to go ahead and hit review. And here I see the same information. I see that 15 hours have been tracked. Ali's weekly capacity is usually 40 hours, so he's kind of under the usual amount that he should be working. I have 0 hours billable, and it's all 15. Ali is an internal employee, so most of his work is towards non-billable. If your team is working on billable work, you will see different metrics over here. All right. If this all looks good to me, I can go ahead and hit approve. If I have some changes that I need Ali to make, I can go ahead and hit request changes and indicate where I need him to make those adjustments. So I recall that Ali actually worked on the newsletter for an hour on Friday, say for example, and I need him to make changes and actually add that time. I'm going to go ahead and hit request changes. Once I do that, I can see that my notification over here goes away. If I come back into timesheets, I can see under the approvals, there are no timesheets that require my review. Under changes requested, I can see Ali's timesheets over here where the changes are needed. So let me go ahead, jump back into Ali's profile so we can see what it looks like for him right now. All right. I am the timesheet submitter again. Here in inbox, I will see that there is a new notification, and I can see that there was a comment added on my timesheet, and my manager has told me to add hours worked on Friday for the newsletter. I guess that's another thing that I forgot. So let's go ahead and open this up and let's go update our timesheet once again. For newsletter, I worked an hour on Friday and I need to add that. So let me go ahead and make those adjustments. I just withdrew my timesheet. I'm going to go ahead and add my hour for newsletter on Friday. And I'm going to go ahead and resubmit this for approval. Now that Ali has updated his timesheet and sent it for approval again, I have logged back into my profile as the manager. I see I have a notification again. So if I jump into timesheets, if I go in approvals, I can see that this is ready for review again. So I can open this up. I'm able to see Ali's hours, same thing, 16 hours non-billable. He went ahead and added that additional hour as I requested. So this all looks great to me. I'm going to go ahead and hit approve. And now this timesheet has been approved. So if I go back into my approvals as the manager, I'm able to see that there are no more timesheets that require my review. But if I go to approved, I'm able to see that Ali's time tracking for July 28th to August 3rd has been approved for 16 hours. And then if I go to all, same thing, this is going to show me all. So timesheets that are ready for review, timesheets where changes are requested or approved will all show up over here. I currently only have one. So that is what is being shown here. That is the full workflow of your team members submitting timesheets for approvals and then your managers approving those timesheets. Super simple, super easy. Your team members, if they are only submitting time, will not see the tabular up top for approvals. If they are not admins, they're not going to see that. For team members that are admins, they are going to see approvals. And if they have any timesheets that need their approval, they will receive notifications within their timesheet section within the left-hand navigation. I also wanted to go over a quick tip for setting non-billable billable spaces. I'm not sure if you know this, but in ClickUp, for all of your spaces that you have created within your workspace, you are able to actually set spaces by default as billable or non-billable. So for example, for your social media marketing, if primarily most of this work is billable, I'm able to go to the space settings, click the three dots, go to space settings, and here I can see that there is billable time tracking, and I can set this specific space as billable. What this means is whenever I create a task within this space, it's going to be set as a billable task. So if your team is tracking time towards those tasks, it's going to be set to billable time. They are always able to adjust. So if most of your work primarily is billable and there is one specific task that is not billable, let's go ahead and show what that would look like. If I start to track my time here, I will see that it is automatically set as billable. But if this specific time tracking that I'm about to do is not, I can always just untoggle this and set it to unbillable. If sometimes they forget to toggle, untoggle, billable, non-billable, you can kind of help your team by setting spaces as billable, non-billable. And that's your full overview of timesheet approvals in ClickUp. It's a great way to add structure, accountability, and clarity to your time tracking process, especially if you work with contractors or billable hours. If this video helped you, give it a like, subscribe for more ClickUp tips, and drop any questions you have in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.